This week on the Harris Highlights podcast, I told you. I've been saying it for weeks. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you will in just a few minutes. Josh Schaefer, told you. All that and more on the Harris Highlights show. Na 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 na.
Coming to you live from the beautiful Arizona State campus in beautiful downtown Phoenix, this is episode 8 of the Harris Highlights Show, and man, are things going to get lit today. Boys, we have a lot in our minds, and I'm not even going to ask how y'all are doing because I'm just going to get started right away.
Episode 8 Diocho.
These playoff rankings are an absolute joke. I just threw my papers on the table because I am upset and I am offended with these rankings.
I'm frustrated.
Let's begin. Number 1, Alabama. Obviously, good choice. Number 2, Ohio State. That's a very good choice as well. I got no problems with the top 2. Now let's get into my problems here. Michigan is at number 3. They didn't move. How?
That's a problem.
I do not understand how you lose to a team like Iowa and you don't move at all when you're at number 3. We'll get into more of that later. Number 4, Clemson. Why is Clemson still in the top 4 when Louisville is number 5? I'm going to ask you guys a question. What is more impressive? A loss to Clemson or a loss to Pittsburgh?
Clemson
on the road, too, if you're Louisville.
So why is it that Louisville is at 5 instead of 4 over Clemson? I don't get it. I look at the teams they've gone up against. NC State, Louisville won by 30. Clemson won by 7. Florida State, Louisville won by 40. Clemson won by 3. I do not understand it. The committee is an absolute joke right now. I have no trust in them. Guys, give me your thoughts on what you think about these newest rankings.
I said this last week. I'm going to say it again this week. The reason they have Michigan and Ohio State in there is so they can solidify at the end of the season whichever team wins will be in the playoff. That's my big thing with the 2 Big Ten teams. It'd be awesome. I think it'd be awesome to see a 2 Big Ten team Final Four.
Well, I think it too, but then wouldn't you rather just have Clemson at 3 and have them go down a spot and then put Michigan at 4 and have them move a spot? Because not moving at all, that is what I have a major issue with. What do you guys think of
especially with Michigan not moving with a loss to an unranked Iowa team, that's bad. But like you said earlier with the Clemson schedule, they have no reassuring wins besides Louisville, and to me, I only think they won because it was at home. So, I don't understand why they're in the top 4 and Louisville's at 5, but yeah.
Lyle?
Yeah, I think it would have made a lot more sense for Michigan to go down to 4 and Clemson to go down to 3, especially because between Pitt and Iowa, I mean, in terms of strength of those teams, they're about even. So these losses for Michigan and Clemson, despite Michigan being on the road, were about even. So, again, I'm with you guys. I don't know why they didn't move at all.
Here's my thing. Let me run down my quick top 5. Of course, obviously, we have Bama at number 1. I liked how Bama, they just put them at number 1 when they were doing the show because obviously. So I would put Bama at number 1, Ohio State number 2. No problems with that. I'd have Louisville at 3, Clemson at 4, and Michigan at 5. And the reason why I still have them up there is because I still think it's anyone's game, and clearly I don't think Washington, Wisconsin, or Penn State really have what it takes to be in that top 5. My only concern is why is Michigan not moving and why are they not flipped with Louisville? That's my only concern. I like Clemson at 4. It's fine. I don't understand why Michigan is number 3, loses, and doesn't go anywhere.
But you would have Clemson in there over you would keep Clemson at 4 because those guys could have lost so many games this year. They should at the very least be a two-loss team.
We've been over this as well, too. You look at their schedule, they played at Auburn. They played against a Troy team who, yeah, they won by 6, but we didn't give them credit
They're
before.
ranked 25th in the official AP poll.
Troy is a team that can compete with some people. They also had Louisville at home, They had North Carolina State, Florida State, and Pitt. Their one loss was Pitt, and Pitt is still a good football team. In my opinion, Pitt is the best, 4-loss team? They're the best 4-loss team in the country, without a doubt. I think Pitt is a team that could be ranked, should be ranked, but of course their record says otherwise.
I just really don't like how people look over that NC State game with Clemson because it really should have been a loss.
Well, yeah, but it wasn't.
And you can also give Florida State a loss as well, but I like yours. I would go Bama, Ohio State, Louisville, Michigan, and then Clemson.
I like that.
But like these top 5, I think these are the only really top 5 teams that are going to be fighting for that playoff ground. And as Brady mentioned as well, that Ohio State Michigan game, it's gonna determine a lot. But now let's try to figure out the more of the bottom kind of half. Washington at 6. Now, Josh, I'm gonna give the mic to you in a second to explain a few things. But for Washington, I feel like that 6 rating is honestly perfect for them. They didn't fall too high. They didn't go too low. I think 6 was just about right. Now, guys, everyone give their 2 cents first, and then we'll let Josh speak. Lyle, thoughts on Washington?
Yeah, I think 6 is right where they should be. They had a, close enough home loss against a really, really good USC team. But I still think they can fight for a spot in the college football playoff, and here's why. You got Ohio State and Michigan playing each other. One of those teams is going to lose, and one of them is going to fall. Clemson's ahead of Louisville. Now, if Clemson plays in the ACC championship, like we assume they will, Louisville doesn't have to play a conference championship, and if UW wins out, they will. So does the committee take that into account and jump Washington over Louisville for winning a Pac-12 championship, which very well could be against USC again? And honestly, I know Josh is going to disagree with this, but I think they beat them if they play them again, only because I still think UW's the better team. I think they just got outplayed, and Jake Browning had a terrible second half. He steps it up. That's a different game in the fourth quarter.
Going off of that, with what you said with them being at 6, I think this is perfect for them. I mean, yes, they do have to have a lot going for them to get into the football playoffs, but still, I can see them doing it. Ohio State and Michigan, 2 and 3, they're both going to go up against each other. One of them's going to get knocked out for sure, automatically. Clemson, with the way that they have been playing, not reassuring wins. ACC, still a tough conference to play in. Does anyone know the schedule that they have to play left?
For who?
Clemson is at Wake Forest and then home against South Carolina.
Those are 2 dubs.
Yeah, they should be.
Even if so, South Carolina is a good team still.
That's true, but it is a Death Valley.
It is in Death, so they do hold home field advantage.
Yeah.
And for Washington's sake, they do need a lot going for them. But with what Lyle said, with Louisville not having a championship and Washington having a Pac-12 championship, I can see that being beneficial for the Huskies.
And one thing really quick that everyone overlooks for Clemson, they're let's face it, they're going to be in the ACC championship, and they're going to have to face off against either Virginia Tech or North Carolina, which are very good teams. North Carolina is not ranked in the playoff rankings, and Virginia Tech's not ranked either because they both went down. But that can give Clemson some competition. So I wouldn't necessarily give Clemson the automatic bid to win that game because it's not going to be as easy as everyone thinks. But there is that potential there for a loss.
I'm going to go back to the Big Ten thing right now, and I say the loss for Michigan State hurt their almost guaranteed chances of being in the playoffs, but it will make this rivalry game at the end of the season between Ohio State and Michigan even better.
Let's face it, even if they wouldn't have lost all season, they'd still be 2 and 3. So the losses literally did nothing for the game at all.
Well, exactly. And so I think that right there, that 2 and 3, if Washington does win out, could get them a bump in that final ranking and could even bump them back into the top 4. I don't think they'll finish in the top 4 because I think Louisville will finish in that 4th spot, but Washington could find a way to squeak back in.
So these, for the Big Ten, there's a lot of scenarios that can happen. So really quickly, for Penn State, they'll be in the Big Ten championship
In Indiana?
if they win out and if Ohio State beats Michigan. So right there, if Ohio State beats Michigan and Penn State can win these next 2 games, which are against Rutgers and Michigan State, Michigan's not going to be in the top 4. They have no chance of being in the top 4, mainly because they're not going to have this Big Ten championship. Ohio State, they need to win out, and Penn State needs to lose a game, which, like I said, I don't think Penn State's going to go down. And for Michigan, they need to win out. So in order for this to happen, they have to beat Ohio State.
The Big Ten right now is almost as screwed up as the Pac-12 South.
And we'll get to that later as well.
Yeah.
But for Michigan, if they lose to Ohio State, there's absolutely, and I'm calling this right now on November 15th. I'm calling it, if Michigan loses that game, there's 0% chance of them getting into the college football playoff. 0%. Actually, -1%, because that's how much of a shot they have.
We got way off topic.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm gonna go back to number 6, Washington.
Yes, let's begin.
All right, so they're done. No chance at the playoffs. And
No chance.
No chance. Jake Browning, no chance at the Heisman.
He didn't have one in the first place.
You
Yeah.
guys said he did.
Yes, you put him in the top 5, but look at your Heisman
Well,
race
that's true.
right now.
That's true.
It
He's
is-
out of the Heisman race. If you put him in, I'm sorry, but you're wrong.
Hell, everyone's out of the Heisman race right now.
Not Zane
True.
Gonzalez.
It's going to
Not
Lamar.
Zane,
It's
not
going to
everyone on
Lamar.
Chattanooga. Well, yeah, of course. He's
Now
incredible.
now everyone's just fighting for
I
second.
bet you still
Everyone
New
is
York.
everyone is just fighting for
Who,
second.
Browning?
place.
Yeah.
No way.
He
I
had
can
one
see- I
bad
can see
game.
that.
Lamar just had a bad
Okay,
game. No
yeah,
one's
but
heard that
like
since
I said, you look at Washington, Rutgers, Idaho, Portland State, Arizona, who they struggled with, Stanford, Oregon State struggled with Utah. I'll give them Utah because Utah is a good team, but that was still an awful game. Cal and then USC. Reality check. Boom. USC comes in, is the better team from kickoff. Is there denying that?
No.
we're not.
UW got outplayed. I still think they're the better team.
Well, they just proved that they weren't. So, and I've been saying it for weeks. USC was going to beat UW. I've been saying it for weeks. I was more confident with USC playing against UW than this week against UCLA. And that's not the last time you'll
Really?
hear me say that on the show.
Really?
It's a rivalry game. We'll touch on it later. But Jake Browning, he has no chance at the Heisman because he plays a team that is at a high caliber. He plays a high caliber team, he plays a high caliber defense, and he gets shut down. His passing statistics were actually not as bad as I thought they were. However, you need a player who's going to step up and lead you to points when you need him to, and he can't do that. He couldn't do that. I think that was the biggest problem with Josh Rosen at UCLA, was that when you needed him to come up clutch, he didn't. You shouldn't have thrown him to quadruple coverage, but there's kind of nothing you can do in that situation other than not throw the pass. Anyway, the other one, his wide receiver fell down. It was a quick slant route, and a diving cornerback picked it off. And then on Browning's touchdown, Adoree Jackson tripped and fell. That was his one touchdown. It was like 86 yards. So that's one play that's like a quarter of his stats right there.
Adoree got beat.
Show the replay. Blake, show the replay right here. It's a little bit of both, but he fell down.
Adoree Jackson tweeted out and goes, "Sometimes they get the best of you."
I think he fell down.
I think he fell down.
Des
One
caught
thing
it.
we're all looking over about Washington right now. If they go over to Pullman and win that game against Wazoo, there's another great ranked win for them on the road. You have that.
Another
Unless Wazoo.
What are you talking about?
Unless Wazoo goes down to Colorado this week,
True.
and they're going to be unranked going into that Washington
Okay.
game.
True. But they're still a good team. They'd be a 3-loss team in that scenario. But still, you're UW, and you go over and win that game and then win the Pac-12 championship. I think, their schedule wasn't, it's not an SEC schedule, but they, outside of one USC game, they beat the teams that, they needed to beat. They beat a couple good teams,
If Penn State wins out and goes to the Big Ten championship, they won't be facing Michigan or Ohio State. Like I said, though, Ohio State does have to beat Michigan because Penn State was the tiebreaker. So Penn State would be facing either Wisconsin or Nebraska, which is not going to be an easy game. If Penn State can win this game, would you put them in the top 4? Because since Ohio State or Michigan's not going to be in there, that leaves potentially 2 ACC teams to be in the top 4, which I know a lot of people would not really like. Personally, I do not want to see 2 ACC teams in there.
You'd rather see 2 Big Ten teams in there.
No, it would just be Penn State. I'd give it to Bama, Penn State, Louisville, and then potentially Washington if they can win out. If they can win out. Like I said, a lot of
I'll
things...
be honest, it sounds like an awful Final Four.
Yes.
Sounds
Anyway,
awful.
that's not the
Well,
point.
if the other teams lose, they don't deserve
The
it.
point
That's
is,
true. It's whatever
can Penn
happens.
State make the top 4, or would you put them in the top 4 if you're the committee? Only if they win out and win the Big Ten championship. Convincingly.
Yeah, it
This
has
is-
to be convincing.
This is one coming off of they need a lot of things to happen. And if I'm the playoff committee and those things do happen, I'm going to say yes.
Woo, I like it.
They were able to upset Ohio State. They were able to beat Wisconsin or Nebraska, both 2 ranked, well-played teams. What other scenario do they need? Or is that it?
They just need Ohio State to beat Michigan.
Yeah, and that's not in their fortune.
No, but I think that's going to happen.
By Ohio State beating Michigan. And with that being said, I would give it to them.
All right.
Like, remember a couple weeks ago when we were talking about is there going to be 2 undefeated teams or things like that?
There still are 2 undefeated teams.
2 undefeated teams that'll make the playoffs. I knew it was too early to talk about that because games like we saw this weekend, weeks like this always happen. It's college football. You almost never see 2 undefeated teams.
Like I said, week 1 of the college football playoff rankings, at the final rankings, there will be 7 teams in these final rankings that were not in it.
Shall we mention Texas A&M, who's only 25th now? My God, what a downfall.
Stanford.
Committee.
Good job, committee.
All right.
Good job.
Now let's talk about
Quick round
another.
of applause for the committee. Yeah.
I'm
Putting
not.
Texas A&M at 4 and they lose back-to-back games to teams they should kill.
I refuse to clap for the committee. Mainly,
It was a sarcastic clap.
mainly because they have Colorado at 10. How in the hell is Colorado ranked 10? Once again, let me go over their wins this year, boys. Colorado State, Idaho State, Oregon State, ASU, Stanford, UCLA, Arizona. Stanford's ranked. They beat them 10-5. Other than that, they have no wins against any ranked teams. And frankly, I don't think they have any wins against teams with a winning record. Maybe at Colorado State, but that's Colorado State. Nothing against Colorado State, but come on, you beat Colorado State.
Everything about Colorado.
Why is Colorado ranked 10th? Committee, what are you doing here? My God.
All right, let me take this one. So,
Please.
Blake and I are both. I mean, Lyle's from Washington, so he's pretty familiar with the Pac-12. Blake and I are both from the Southern California, the LA area, as pretty much everyone on this show already knows. But we're both
really?
very familiar with the Pac-12. So, Pac-12 Media Day this year, no one took Colorado seriously when they're watching at
I
home.
didn't.
Yeah, I didn't either. My friend is telling me, my friend's a huge college football fan, knows way more than I do, and he's telling me Colorado's a sleeper this year. I said, shut up. I was wrong.
Shut up, stupid.
I 100% will give them the respect that they deserve. But putting them at 10, you've got to be kidding me.
Oh,
top 20. Yes. At 10? Come on.
Yeah. When I was looking at ASU's schedule this year, and I was trying to figure out what games we can win, what games will be tough. I look over Colorado, and I didn't even stop to look at them. I
Same.
thought that's a win for ASU. And now look where they're at. I don't think they deserve to be at 10.
They should have lost by more to SC, and that Arizona State game, they played an Arizona State team who was missing 10 starters. So they got lucky in that. I mean, they probably still could have won.
You say 10
but then-
starters, but you mean like 16 because their whole offensive lineman is missing in action.
They still, oh God, man.
If anyone
it's sad. They could be so good.
If anyone out there finds the Arizona State offensive line, please return them home safely because we miss them dearly.
Anyway,
Should we put
and
the
then
ASU football phone number on the bottom of the screen right now?
yeah, jeez. And then they played Stanford, and wow, what a baseball game that was! 10-5 was the final score. UCLA was and then Arizona, they still let up 24 points to the Wildcats. It was at Arizona. They still got the win. Whatever. But their schedule itself just isn't that tough outside of USC and UCLA. Really, those are the 2 toughest
But
games.
like I said, the last 2 weeks of the season, they got Washington State and Utah, both at home, so they do have the advantage, but that is where they're going to make their mark and prove themselves. Spencer, speak your words.
Thank you.
Into the microphone.
I don't get how they're ranked 10. Usually they decide to work it off of the strength of the schedule. And at the very beginning of the season, what game stood out to you besides Michigan? Possibly Oregon and then Stanford. Everything else, breeze.
For Colorado?
For Colorado. Their schedule is not that hard.
It's not.
Besides
hard
the
at
last
all.
2 games where they finally play ranked teams, actually ranked teams, in Utah and Washington State.
Well, according to their schedule, the only time they play a ranked team when they were ranked was Michigan.
Was Michigan. And
Stanford wasn't ranked at the
that's
time.
when they dropped 28.
Yeah, so they haven't played a ranked team yet all season.
Drop 28. Can I get in on the high fives?
Ah, no.
Oh, you just high-fived me.
So, I mean, Colorado,
The fact that
prove
they're ranked
us
10,
wrong.
Don't even prove me wrong. Committee, prove me wrong. Why are
Yes.
these boys ranked 10?
Credit them enough to be where they are right now, to be a 2-loss team with, I mean, still being in the Pac-12
I
where
don't
anyone
even
can
care.
beat anyone.
If they win
but
both these
top
2
10,
games, they should make number 10 if they win these 2 games. They shouldn't be at
Oh,
10
yes.
right now.
I don't think they should be at 10 right now.
Because the thing is, even if they win these next 2 games, where are they moving up to? They can't move up because unless one of these teams goes down, it can't happen. But like I said, the next 2 weeks will be very determining. But looking at 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, I like USC at 13. I think that's a very good spot. West Virginia at 14. They do have Oklahoma coming up this week. Oklahoma is 9th in the country, so that'll be a very, very determining game, especially for Big 12 implications. Oklahoma State, number 11. What can you do with them? Auburn at 15. I feel bad for Auburn because they
super bad for Auburn.
If Auburn would have won, they probably would have gone up to maybe, I don't know if they would have skyrocketed, but they would have gone up to maybe 8th or 7th with a chance to play Alabama for a spot in the SEC title game.
They still have to play them already, though. The Iron Bowl's the last week of the season.
But Bama already clinched their
Yes.
division, so that game is, it's going to mean something, but if this game would have had SEC title implications, oh man. Auburn, I said it, I think it was last week, Auburn had a shot at the college football playoff. If they could beat Bama, go to the SEC title, win that, they'd be in. But now, oh my goodness, their season is pretty much over.
I think if they get a very convincing win over a very good Alabama A&M team, I think that they can still get in the playoffs.
Very true. That Alabama A&M, AMU, whatever the hell it is, might be a very tough game. The first thing I did when I saw the rankings were obviously check the top 4, see who moved. But the next thing I did, I went to see how far Western Michigan moved up. Guess how many spots they moved up?
0.
0.
Why?
How?
Why?
How?
Why?
This team
why,
is-
Why?
I am committee. I am without speech. How do you have this team undefeated, still this late in the season? Move them up 1 spot. Move them up something. Tennessee, they jumped, I think, 6 or 7 spots for beating an obviously not as good Kentucky team as we all thought. Boise State, I'm looking at Boise State's schedule, and my God, they've beaten BYU by 1, they've beaten Colorado State by 5, Utah State by 10, Washington State by 3. They're having all these close games, not to mention a loss to Wyoming. Meanwhile, Western Michigan, it just keeps on winning.
Wait. Just a couple weeks ago, when Boise State still had its undefeated schedule, weren't they ranked in the top 15 at least?
Oh,
Yeah, it was a joke.
And where
Yes, they
is
were.
Western Michigan?
Oh, they're
if you're to give
21.
Boise State credit, at least give the Mountaineers some
Boise
credit.
State played
Mountaineers.
ranked.
Nope.
Also, the Broncos, I'm pretty sure.
Boise State
Boise
has...
State played
Oh,
Wazoo, who's ranked.
My bad.
Yeah, but they also played
Beat
Wazoo.
them and beat them.
They beat
Hashtag roll them up.
They beat Wazoo by 3 points the week after Wazoo lost to an FCS school.
Yeah,
so I
right.
wouldn't necessarily qualify that as a very good win.
Okay, I do think Western Michigan should be ahead of Boise State. I'll give you
Oh,
that.
Very much so, yes.
Without a doubt. I mean, that's pretty much my only beef. You keep winning, move them up 1 rank, just 1 ranking. I'll be upset, but if you move them up 1 ranking, row the boat as Josh is doing. But I will say this: Western Michigan, props to college football, is going to be the host of College Game Day this week.
Yay!
So that's going to be very cool for those fans.
Game
So
day.
shout out to them. Good for Game Day, because you could have gone with a lot of other great games, but something college football did right in regards to Western Michigan. But guys, looking at these other top 25 rankings, are there any other teams really quick that just you want to talk about? Stanford's in the top 25. Texas A&M's at number 25.
Credit to Stanford.
Yeah, where'd they come from all of a sudden out of nowhere? They're back.
Blake and I were watching football, and Blake looks over at, or was it was either Blake
was
or
me.
was it you?
Yeah. You
It was
guys watch
Lyle.
football?
We do watch football sometimes. So Lyle looks over at me and he goes, "Stanford's 7-3," and I was like,
I remember
no. And of course they scroll on the bottom of the screen, and we were like, "Sorry, sorry, Stanford."
My biggest, the team that is quietly doing the best in the top 10 at least, Wisconsin.
Yep.
I'd say they're quietly working their way up. They just keep jumping. They're at 7 now, and they're 8-2.
This
This is a great team for Wisconsin this year.
I'm really glad you brought up Wisconsin because
really?
I don't know how we kind of skipped over this earlier in the show. Wisconsin has Purdue and Minnesota. Both I think are going to be games that they win. If Wisconsin gets to the Big Ten championship and they beat, let's just say that it's Ohio State or Michigan that's in the Big Ten championship, and Wisconsin can beat one of these teams, are we looking at Wisconsin potentially in the top 4 for the college football playoff?
Yes, I was expecting them to be ahead of Washington in the rankings this week, to be totally honest. And I was a little bit upset that they weren't, but after looking at it, I'm kind of in agreement with putting Washington above Wisconsin. But I do agree with you. I think with their 2 losses back-to-back, being number 4 Michigan at the time and number 2 Ohio State, those are 2 pretty big losses right there. And really quickly, sorry, I'm going to take the sheet away from you. Sorry, Spencer. But both of those losses were very close. They were within 7 points both times. I still think they're a solid team.
Well, top 25, very controversial, but this was fun. I feel like it got a little heated at times. Like, I feel like the way some of you guys were looking at me, I thought someone was about to go down. Brady, no. Now, normally we always do the top 5 for the Heisman, but I mean, like I said, with only a few weeks remaining in the season, it's his to lose. Does anyone see Zane Gonzalez losing the Heisman at this point?
No, Blake, I do not.
Unless Jesus somehow comes and plays college football, I don't think there's a chance.
I just want to know why all of you guys got a retweet and a favorite from Zane this weekend on Twitter, but I didn't.
We're on a first-name basis. I call him Zane. He calls me that guy who retweets him every once in a while. So that's pretty much a first-name basis.
I didn't tweet, but you can follow me at SPX09.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
He follows back sometimes, but other times he just doesn't respond.
But really quickly, guys, other than Zane, are there any other potential candidates that you think could sneak in and take the Heisman Trophy home this fall?
I think Lamar Jackson's okay. I think he has a decent chance of competing with Zane Gonzalez, but I just don't think it doesn't matter how many touchdowns it doesn't matter how many touchdowns he puts up in one game. The fact that if Zane Gonzalez nails a field goal, then that pretty much just puts the Heisman away.
I think the other contenders are Lamar Jackson, Jackson Lamar, L. Jackson, and the Louisville quarterback.
What about Samuel L. Jackson?
I'm going to propose this question really quick. If Houston takes down Louisville this week, does Lamar still get it?
Depends on his performance.
Yep, I was going to say it's about his numbers.
Alrighty, well, the Heisman race is going to be a fun one to watch. We'll see if anyone can beat Zane or Lamar at number 2.
This race is like watching. This race is like watching Secretariat. It's too easy. Or American Pharaoh, if you're a horse racing fan.
Now, guys, I have some great news. For the Q&A, we only have 64 comments right now.
So you can just go through all of them.
So it's not going to be much of a struggle, mainly because I only posted it like an hour ago, so that's the reason why. All right. Now for the Q&A, we've pretty much explained as much as we can, so if there's a question that we haven't really gone over yet, you can explain a little. Let's just keep this to yes or no and try to go through every question we potentially can this week. Shall we begin? Dylan T wants to know if we think Oklahoma is ranked too high or low. They are currently ranked at 9.
They're fine.
Just right.
Just okay.
I say it's going to be really reassuring when they beat West Virginia.
I think Oklahoma, if I have this correctly.
They play Oklahoma State too, so
And they got Oklahoma State, so we're going to determine that one. And the second part to his question is, are you ready for Chattanooga to whoop on Bama? You bet I am.
Aren't we all?
To be honest, I don't think I'm still going to be ready for this. My mind's going to be exploding.
Yes, I'm ready for Chattanooga. It's going to be, as the kids nowadays say, lit.
Hashtag, let's go, Mox.
Poop Dalla wants to know
I love this guy.
if we think Zane Gonzalez will kick the game-winning field goal to smash Washington's playoff hopes.
I don't know. We're going to be watching the Chattanooga game.
Yeah, who cares?
Guys, there's...
I think he kicks the field goal at the end of the game when
That gives us our first 3 points.
when it's 54-0 Washington.
There's only 2 games left. Well, 3, because I believe that we'll go to a bowl game where Zane can hit the game-winning field goal.
If that
This
doesn't
has to
happen-
happen. It has to. This one comes from One Tooth Bird. He wants to know, do you think USC will finish top 8? And how long do you think until USC is contender again? Really quick, I'm just going to start that one off.
No.
I don't think they can crack the top 8, mainly because it's going to be difficult to leap those 5 spots to get there. So we'll see, but I really like where they're ranked at 13th. As if they can become a contender again next year. Sam Darnold, we've mentioned before, he is the real deal. According to Josh, and I believe what he's saying, the recruiting is going really well. Adoree and Juju might return. I doubt they will. But I think SC, we've been saying this, it feels like for 5 or 6 years now, if SC's finally back. I can honestly say I think SC after this season is finally back.
So I'm gonna jump on board there too, and I would say, does USC have what it takes to be in the top 8? Without a doubt, because they're playing elite football right now. Will they? No. So for USC fans, sorry, it's not happening because of the huge mess that the Pac-12, but more importantly, that the top 10 rankings are right now. When will USC be a contender again? 100% agree next year. USC should be returning, I want to say 95% of their start. They should be losing 3 starters or something like that. It's an insane number, which is why the Clay Helton being fired talk has ceased. But honestly, forget about 2012, forget about 2014, forget about 2011.
Let's all forget about 2012. Oh,
Yeah,
God.
as Blake walks out of the room. But yes, honestly, next year, USC, that's their year. If of course, Adoree and Juju and them come back.
Hey everybody, Dane Cook here in the house at the MTV Movie Awards. What's up? What's up? Hey, you know what I hate? We need an ice cream cone and it's all like cold and you're like, and you're like, why didn't you warn me that's so cold? And he's like, it's ice cream, dude. And you're like, oh man, but chicks don't do that because they use a spoon. What's up? Soup Five, boom, MySpace.
Dollar and Dream wants to know, does Navy deserve to be in the top 25? They do lead the American Conference right now.
Whoop-de-doo, you lead the American Conference.
I think they're a solid team, but I think they're a lot like Pitt. They're a very good team that's not ranked for a reason.
Yeah, I don't think they should be in.
Now, this is a very good question, because this comes from Blake. He always asks pretty good
I
questions.
kicked the table.
Blake Bounds always asks some really good questions. He wants to know...
He's probably our most involved listener.
Yeah. If Alabama rematches USC right now, do you think USC has a chance? Not wins, has a chance? Absolutely,
No
SC has
doubt.
a chance.
Without a doubt.
No doubt.
I could
SC
see
has
it.
a chance?
Yeah.
You guys are saying yes?
Yes.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a no.
I
No,
honestly...
no. We're not saying they're going to win. We're saying they're going to put up a fight.
Especially with Darnold at quarterback.
Well,
Remember,
they're
it was
going to
Max
put more
Brown
than
in the
3
first game.
points. So I will give you... They're going to put up more than 6 points. So I'll give you that.
But yeah, I also don't think their defense would let up like 50,000 either.
Now, this comes from Jordan Tacey, and he asked a couple questions, so I'm just going to go one by one. Do you think Houston and Troy are getting disrespected?
Not
I think-
disrespected.
I think Houston's getting overlooked because
You see, I'm not...
Yeah.
they fell off in the middle of the season. They've started to work their way back up, but I think they're being overlooked.
Mm-hmm. And how about Troy?
Troy's one of the teams in the middle of the pack. Yes, they have a good record, but they're not a good team.
They're not a great team.
No.
All right, and he wants to know as well, Tennessee beat Kentucky and went from unranked to 19. How do you feel about that?
Way too high of a jump. Even if Kentucky was in the contention for the SEC...
Not anymore.
East. Even if so, I still think that's a big jump for them.
25 to 20, I would say 23, but
For them to be in the
19 is a
top
lot.
20?
SEC biased.
Yep. Now,
Agreed.
Connor Jones asks us this question. If Iowa beat Michigan and North Dakota State beat Iowa, then is North Dakota State better than Michigan?
To be honest, if we're going to do the math on it, yes.
I think so. Is North Dakota State still like number 1 in the FCS
They
or
have to be.
Division
They
2?
did lose a game.
Are they,
They
yeah,
lost
they
to
did lose
South-
a game.
Lost to South Dakota State.
Who's a very good team, but I always like doing
They're
those.
fourth. So number 1, Sam Houston State, Jacksonville State, Eastern Washington, then North Dakota State.
I always like doing that. Well, if this team beat this team and they beat them, I always have a lot of fun with those. Swim Crafters wants to know what our favorite performance from the past weekend was. Now that can be individual performance, favorite game, favorite moment. What was your guys' favorite thing from this weekend?
Trojans, baby.
Mine's got to be the field goal from the pit kicker. That was such
Blew
a
it.
clutch field goal.
What a last
blow it.
name, guys.
was a
I'm
good
going to have to
kickoff.
go with Iowa over Michigan because I got a lot of friends who go to Iowa and they were at that game and they stormed the field, and I'm low-key jealous of it.
I'm going to go with the Iowa over Michigan game, but not because of the field goal, which was awesome, but the last time these two teams played,
Yes.
or Iowa beat them, Jim Harbaugh was the quarterback at Michigan.
Saw that.
So that's kind of a cool piece of history right there that was incorporated into this game.
Should Utah be ranked above Colorado or below Colorado? Now, obviously, they're ranked below Colorado, but what do you guys think? Who do you think's the better team, Utah or Colorado? I'll rephrase the question.
I hope Colorado wins, but I think Utah's a better team.
I think Utah's a better team, and I think Utah's going to win.
I think they are too. I just hope they don't.
And that question came from Tyler Watts. And this next one comes from Ryan Gaming _23. Do you think Baylor could still be decent with Seth Russell getting injured? By the way, like the show.
Thank you.
Their true freshman quarterback actually was pretty impressive in their last game. I don't think they're going to be the same without Seth Russell, but they're not going to be a pushover either.
Also, major props to Seth Russell. Last year he broke his neck. This year it was an ankle injury, right? Is that what they're calling it? Ankle injury? So, I mean, props to him. Hopefully he'll be back next year and steps things up. Ben McLean wants to know if we think Mississippi State has a chance to beat Ole Miss since Chad Kelly is out for the season.
Yes.
I still don't think so.
Since Chad
Yes.
Kelly's out for the season, I'm going to say yes.
But what Mississippi State team are we seeing? Are we going to see the one that upset Texas A&M or the one that lost to Bama by
You
50?
see, now
Go-
both
go-
teams can
go-
play.
Go ahead.
My bad.
No, you're good. Going back to the point that I think Lyle or Josh made earlier is like the RG3, the Heisman whole thing. You take away that one player, what's that team going to turn into?
Exactly.
That's the thing you have to look at for this game.
Thank you.
This is a very fun question, and it's going to involve us putting our thinking caps on, which
Oh.
I know we never like to do.
Thank God.
But let's
My
put them
hair
on
looks-
right
I brought
now.
mine from home.
Oh, perfect. Nate for Heisman wants to know, with teams like NC State, Texas Tech, Duke, etc., who do you think is the most competitive team that is bad on paper with like a record that's 500 or below? So who do you think's the best team other than Indiana or ASU?
It says Arizona State, you idiot.
Oh, I thought you were pointing at your heart. So, oh God, who's the best team that's 500 or worse in college football?
All right, first of all, credit to this question.
Great question.
Great question.
One of the better questions that we've ever had.
I like it.
Way to go, Nate for Heisman.
Nate should win the Heisman.
He
It
should.
should be Zane for Heisman.
I'm
Anyway.
gonna say T-Tech.
I figured.
T-Tech. Patrick Mahomes throwing out crazy numbers, and even if the record doesn't show that they're fantastic, I still believe that they're a great.
And I'm pretty
team.
certain that
I mean,
all
the
of
dude
all
has-
of their losses have been fairly close.
He's got 4,200 yards with 34 touchdowns.
Pretty good teams.
That's crazy.
Yes, they are.
I'm gonna agree with Spencer, and I'm gonna say Texas.
Oh no,
Tech.
that's no fun. You have to pick
Well,
another
no.
team.
So here's the thing. If Arizona State was at full strength the last 4 weeks,
Oh,
I
yeah.
would say the Sun Devils. However, if they were at full strength, I don't think that they would be 500. So shout out to the Sun Devils. We need someone to shout us out. No one else is going to except for SVP because of that one onside kick.
SVP,
Scott
Scott
Van
Van
Pelt,
Pelt,
baby.
what a guy.
Anyways, I
Scott
like
Van
I
Pelt.
like Texas Tech. Mahomes is a stud.
I kind of like Kentucky. They're at 5-5, but they're a very they were just competing for an SEC East, so they've intrigued me a little bit.
I like how Kentucky out of nowhere is competing for the SEC East, and the second Spencer and I give them recognition for being good and potentially being a threat, they lose 2 in a row. Like that just makes us look stupid.
Tennessee.
I'm going to go with a team that's 5-5, right at 500, and that's Army. They have the number 1 defense in all of college football.
Which didn't show last week.
No, it
Against
didn't.
The boys from South Bend, yes.
Yeah.
That game was a
Yeah,
shocker. But I,
but I'm going to say Notre Dame's
Not
the
going to a
best
bowl game.
500 or below team, just because of their defense. Army.
all right. I like that one. This guy wants to know where to
What's his
go.
name?
Jordan H wants to know
Jordan Howard.
if Clemson is better than Louisville or they were just better in the head-to-head game. Love the channel, by the way. Thank you.
I think there's a lot of controversy surrounding that game when they met head to head, or maybe not controversy, but a lot of different things could have played out. I think Louisville could have won the game. I do think Clemson's the better team, so I'm going to say Clemson, but I really wish we could see these two teams play again. I think there's a slight possibility, but unfortunately I don't think we'll see it. But I would like to see this game, but I'll go with Clemson.
Now, this is more of a statement. Christian McCaffrey did something.
I was looking at the rushing numbers today in college football, like the leaders. And I think McCaffrey's like at number 10, 11, 12-ish right now. So he's slowly climbing up the leaderboards for rushing yards. So it's good to see him finally bouncing back. Deman wants to know if we believe that Alabama has a one-game cushion and can still be in the playoffs. So if Alabama goes down, which they will this weekend, or at least Alabama can lose the next 2 or 3 games in a row and they'll be in the top 4. I mean, let's face it.
If Alabama loses one game, I'd still put them at 1, unless it's the SEC championship.
I don't know. I mean, not to say that they're not the best team in the country, because they are. But the trend I've noticed throughout the years is you're given a lot more of like a grace period if you lose early as opposed to losing late. Losing late kills teams. And if they lose late, who knows what could happen.
This is a very good question. It comes from Josh, or better known as Krystrx, Kystrx. I'm not even going to try with that. And I like this. He writes, I know all the questions are going to be about the playoffs. So, which team has exceeded your preseason expectations, and which teams have failed to meet your preseason expectations? Josh, pick someone other than Colorado, because you did mention them earlier, so try to think of someone. Spencer, you're
I got
jumping
dibs.
up and
I
down,
got
going
dibs
dibs. All right.
because 2 teams have let me down. Not 1, but 2.
Okay.
Florida State.
Mm-hmm.
I was picking Dalvin Cook to win the Heisman. That didn't go well, but he's still a good player. And Houston. I remember being very high in Houston.
You were the highest out of any of us.
I was the
It was
high-
some Denver, Colorado kind of high. Brady, he's not going to say it. Say it before he does.
Western Michigan.
Yay!
Western Michigan, obviously, first time ever being ranked. They're right now at 21. I think Houston's been a big disappointment this season because they've been very inconsistent, jumping up and down. and that'd be the big disappointment for me.
The team that exceeded expectations for me was undoubtedly Louisville. I mean, I thought they were going to be solid at the beginning of the year, but Lamar Jackson was not a household name last year. I knew who he was, but it wasn't a household name like he is now. So they've really impressed me. Team that's let me down, big shocker here.
That was mine. Okay, that was my other one.
Notre Dame. They start the year at 10, and now, wow.
Oh yeah, God, they started the year in the top 10.
So I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna totally agree with Lyle. That was one of my other teams, but I'll pick two more. Believe it or not, the three teams that have let me down the most: number 1, UCLA; number 2, Notre Dame; number 3, Arizona Wildcats.
Oh, yeah.
I was expecting Arizona to not have an amazing year. I think they'll be great next year. I thought that they would be a lot better this year. In terms of teams that have impressed me, like you said, I touched on Colorado, but I'll stay away from them. I like what West Virginia's been doing. They've been pretty impressive. And other than that, I think
I'm going to go with one team that I was kind of scared you might take, who is by far exceeded my expectations, and that's Wazoo. This team years ago was a complete, you looked at Wazoo in your schedule and you go, my God, that's going to be a 60-point rampage right there. And now all of a sudden, they've won, 8 in a row, 9 in a row after losing those 2 in a row. They're ranked, and they could potentially be in the Pac-12 title game, potentially going to the Rose Bowl. I did not see this at all. I do not like their head coach at all. I'm not even going to say his name. I don't have any respect for him. But he has done a hell of a job turning this program around, and fairly quickly, too, because last year, Brady, really quickly, can you just look up the Wazoo schedules, or their records the past few seasons? Because I have not seen this winning. Yeah,
Keep in mind, if they don't lose to Eastern Washington at the beginning of the year, who's an FCS school, they're in the same position as UW right now with one loss.
And if they squeak by Boise State, who they lost to by a field goal,
then all of a sudden they're undefeated.
They're undefeated, and we're talking about potential playoff for this guy.
All right, so here's Washington State's. Let's go since the creation of the Pac-12.
Okay.
So that would be in 2011. 2011 they were 4. Here, let's go a couple years before. 2008 they were 2-11. 2009 1-11. 10 they were 2-10. 2011 4-8, then 3-9, 6-7, 3-9, 9-4 last year, and 8-2 this year.
Yeah, a lot of people used to call the Apple Cup the toilet bowl because people hated watching UW Wazoo so much because they were both just so bad.
Well, I like that. Only 2 more questions left, and this guy, he says if you answer this time with the laughing emoji, so I guess we've never answered this poor guy's question.
Sorry.
He wants to know, what if Ohio State doesn't make it to the Big Ten Championship? Do they still have a chance at the playoffs if they beat Michigan? We've kind of already talked about this, but let's just answer this question. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah. Sure.
All right,
Spencer
well,
agreed with us.
Spencer's answers make me feel depressed.
that was a very fun Q&A. I feel like a lot got done. It was very
It
productive.
doesn't help that you posted this an hour ago.
Very true, very true. That's my bad. But what can I say? I posted a highlight video earlier. Is it just a new room we're in? Because those bells seem extra loud this week.
Ow! That's loud.
Right? Did they come in here this week and install some new thing? Because I'm liking it. But guys, with those bells ringing, that can only mean one thing. And yes, it is time for the Pick'ems. Before we start on the Pick'ems, I just would like to openly acknowledge that I took a couple losses last week.
Can you say how many there were?
It was a terrible weekend. How many games or how many losses did I take?
How many losses did you take?
I think I took about 11 or 12, I'll be honest. It was,
Good Lord.
bro, it was a bad week for me, guys. And these pick'em rankings,
Lyle has his hands behind his head and his feet on the table.
Lyle, if I actually went up with the teams that I thought would win, I would be smoking you.
You can't do that.
I just like to give the viewers, some entertainment. But guys, this is no fun. The first week we had a guest picker, that was Chase. He got 12 right. Last week we bring Garrett in. He got 12 right. Something's up. We need someone that will get more than 12 right. Oh, wait. I think we might have the person that can do that. Ladies and gentlemen, welcoming our first female into the studio. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Emily.
Hi,
Triple
guys.
E. She has 3 E's. Figure out where they go.
Now, Emily, we ask that you do not pull a Spencer, and we ask that you please sit close to the mic so that way everyone can hear you
speak
from
up.
home. Now, guys, also, really quickly, I'm going to time each week's pick'em and give everyone a minute, because last week it took 35 minutes on the pick'em.
Are you going to tell us the standings?
Hold on. We spent 3.5 minutes talking about, Tulsa Navy. Why? Nothing against Tulsa Navy. Why are we spending 3.5 minutes talking about those teams? So, guys, I'm going to get the timer. Guys, I'm gonna get the timer And that's going to be that, okay? But as Lyle mentioned, we do have to discuss the standings, first of all. Well, in first place with 58 points is Lyle. And in second place is Spencer
With how much?
with 50 points.
No way.
And in third place, taking a tumble, is me with 49.
Please tell me I'm
Just 1 point behind me is Josh
Yes.
with 48.
I had a good week.
And Brady is still in last, but he has 46 points.
I was
But guys, so
pulling
pretty
away.
much Lyle's just taking this from now. So it's a competition between second. Between second and last is only 4 points. So now it's anyone's game, and you just stepped on my toe, and it kind of hurts.
I'm sorry.
All right,
You should move your
Josh.
feet.
Josh, get the timer ready because it is time for the pick'ems.
It is ready.
And we got a very tough one to start it off this week. We got Louisville and Houston coming on this Thursday. Guys, who wins the game? Begin.
So I think Houston it could be a difficult environment. I think they'll pose a threat, but I'm gonna go with Lamar Jackson and 9-1 Louisville.
I'm with you on that one. Greg Ward will have a nice game, but too much Lamar. Got to go with Louisville.
With me being a Houston fan way in the beginning of the season, I would take Houston. But since their 2 losses have come and gone, LJ is going to take it to the house.
Louisville's going to win this game, and this will solidify Lamar Jackson's spot as the Heisman winner.
I'm for sure taking the Ville. I don't know how you couldn't take someone who's 9-1.
The Ville, I like that.
I think Louisville wins this game. I don't see any way Houston comes out on top. And this is, like, as Spencer said, is going to solidify Lamar Jackson's Heisman campaign. Brady said that. Sorry, it's late at night. I'm an old man. I forget things. All right, up next, we have the U, Miami, traveling to North Carolina State.
Oh, this is a tough one, fellas. I want to pick the U, so I'm going to. I'm going to pick Miami.
I think NC State's a very underratedly good team. I'm going to go with the Wolfpack.
I would say the U, but I'm going to agree with Lyle on this one and say that NC State is the better team in this aspect.
What?
I'm going the same way as them. Home field advantage in this game. 2 very close ranked teams. Yeah, NC State's going to win this one. I forgot who was playing for a second.
It's
I'm going
okay.
to take the U. They're going on a little win streak right now, so the U for me.
I'm not going to go with the same trend as I have been the previous weeks going against Lyle because look where that's gotten me. So I'm going to start the slow comeback this week, and I'm going to pick the Wolfpack NC State. This next game features a Big 12 matchup that features Oklahoma State traveling to face the Horned Frogs. What the hell is a Horned Frog? Who knows? Let's go. Who wins?
It's a frog with horns, so I'm going to go with the Oklahoma State Cowboys because I've never seen a frog with horns.
I think
Only
this.
toads.
I think this one's going to get ugly. I think Mason Rudolph will light up the Horned Frogs, so Oklahoma State.
Rudolph.
TCU was a good team at the beginning, but Oklahoma State has been a good team ever since the season started. So in that aspect, go Cowboys. Go Pokes, actually.
Oklahoma State. Simple as that. Cowboys over Frogs.
I'm from a small hick town, so I'm going to have to take the Cowboys on this one.
Guys, where has Kenny Hill been this year? My gosh,
hurt.
he fell off the map, but still, where has he been? I'm going to go with Oklahoma State. I don't think TCU gets this win, but hey, go Horned Frogs. This game is a rematch. Well, not a rematch, but a game that was scheduled way early in the year that got postponed due to weather implications that should have been played in all seriousness. And this is between Florida and LSU, a game that's going to have high, well, not really for LSU, but high implications for Florida if they want to come out on top in their division. Guys, who's winning this game?
I've been going first, but this is the one game I still haven't figured out a winner, so I'm going to pass.
All right.
G-E-A-U-X Tigers! Woo!
I'm with you on that one. I think Florida's a lot worse than their record says, so I'm going to go with Leonard Fournette and the LSU Tigers.
Plus, Florida has lost their starting quarterback.
I'm stepping
Ooh,
back
very
in,
true.
and that was the big kicker for me that I was thinking about. So I'm going to go with Coach O, baby.
LSU, Leonard Fournette has got moves on and off the field. Look up the video from
Oh, I
dancing.
saw that.
It's pretty great. I'm also going LSU in this game.
I don't think Florida can handle Death Valley. I'm definitely taking LSU.
Guys, we're picking the same games every time. There's no way anyone's moving up this week, but we'll do it later in the pick'ems because there's no way Florida's getting this win. So I'm going to take LSU because, I mean, those dance moves by Leonard Fournette, that gave them the win automatically. All right. Oh, this is going to be a good one. Virginia Tech at Notre Dame.
I'm going to go with the Hokies. I think the Hokies are the better team. I think Notre Dame's struggling. I think Notre Dame is going to struggle to get another win this year. They've got a few tough games left. I got to go with the Hokies.
I think Virginia Tech's firepower is going to be too much for Notre Dame, so go Hokies.
The last time something with sort of a similar Hokie name was at Notre Dame was Brady Hoke, and that was terrible. So I'm going to say Virginia Tech in this game.
Oh, I'm taking VTech.
You know what? Notre Dame needs 2 wins to make a bowl game this
I'm gonna
year.
go with 1.
No.
Well, they need 2 wins. They're going to be fired up. They're going to be home.
You got 15 seconds and Lionel hasn't gone.
Kill the time, dude.
I think Notre Dame gets this win this weekend.
Blake, you know I love my Irish to the grave, but that's a mistake. Virginia Tech.
A great Pac-12 matchup this weekend as Washington State squares off against Colorado. Woo! Who gets this win, guys?
This is a big one as a Trojan fan. I don't know if you guys knew that, but I am one.
Really?
Trojans need Wazoo to come out with a win this week. Colorado needs to go down. Colorado needs to beat Utah next week. So I'm going with the Cougars on the road in Buffalo. In Boulder! I'm sorry. 40 seconds, by the way.
Wow.
Sorry.
This is a tough one. But you know what? I like Luke Falk and the Cougars in this game. I'm picking Wazoo.
As much as I hate Colorado being ranked 10, since it's in Boulder, I think that's going to be the game changer.
Yeah, the altitude in Colorado is one thing that they always have going for themselves against opponents. It might not be a good place to play, but the altitude will kill their opponents. Colorado wins this one.
I'm, PNW Pride and Luke Falk. I'm definitely taking the Cougars on this one.
I aspire to have a Cougar as a wife one day. That's the goal. So I'm going to go with Luke Falk and those Washington State Cougars. Now, it's a shame that we have this game this week because Chase would have loved this one. And we got San Diego State at Wyoming.
Shout out to you, Chase. Donnell Pumphrey's going to go off. SDSU.
This one's for Chase. Go San Diego State.
San Diego State. Pumphrey's is too good.
I'm going to go with San Diego State. I love you, Chase, but it has nothing to do with you.
As much as I don't want to coincide with San Diego, I'm taking the Aztecs.
Wyoming is the only team to beat Boise State this week. Or a year. God, whatever. Who cares? It's late at night. I'm a tired old man.
You're 20.
Can Wyoming get this win? We'll have to wait and see, but Donnell Pumphrey is too much to handle. They get the win. This is a fun one, guys. New Mexico at Colorado State.
I have a friend who's at New Mexico, and the thing that really stands out to me is that 7-3 record where Colorado State has been struggling and just barely 500. They are 500. They're 5-5. So I'm going to go with the Lobos, New Mexico.
I'm going to agree with you on that one. I'm going to take New Mexico, too.
Well, looks like I'm doing my first anti-pick, and I'm going to go with Colorado State.
I'm going to go with Colorado State, too, just for the hell of picking against you guys.
Yeah.
I'm going with Colorado State, just home team
Excuse me.
advantage, so go Rams.
I was talking crap about Colorado State earlier, and it feels like every time I disrespect a team, they always prove me wrong and show me up. So Colorado State, prove me wrong. I said you weren't that good earlier in the show. Show me that you're good. Utah State at Nevada. This was a potential worst of the worst game. They're both 3-7, but there are worser games out there. So
Why
guys,
is this a game in the
worst
first
game,
place
though.
then?
Utah, because I don't know who anyone's going to pick. It could be a divided one.
I like it.
Who wins the game?
I got picks first by saying that Nevada has the home field advantage, so go them. I don't know their logo. Wolfpack.
Wow, that was talented. I'm going to go with the Aggies. I watched them play SC this year. I mean, they lost bad, but I'm going to go with the Aggies.
Shout out to my boy, Bobby Wagner, who's a Utah State alum. Utah State.
Oh, God, Lyle. I'm going Nevada just because of home field advantage, because who really cares about this game?
I'm taking Utah State because I don't know what an Aggie is.
You guys mentioned I'm old. Speaking of getting old, I turn 21 soon. And when you're 21, you go to Vegas.
Are you gonna take us?
And Las Vegas is in Nevada. Therefore, I'm going with
Why
Nevada.
don't you just go to Reno, where Nevada is?
Happy birthday, Boo Boo.
Oklahoma takes on West Virginia in a Big 12 shootout. Who wins the game?
Great game, but I got to go with the Sooners. I think the Sooners are the better team. They've played one more game. I like the experience. I think they're going to go into Milan Pusker, I think that's how you say it. They're going to go into West Virginia, and they're going to beat the Mountaineers in Morgantown.
This isn't a thing, but I'm making it a thing. M squared. Mayfield, Mixon. I like the Sooners.
Ooh, I like that.
Like it.
I'm the same way. Even though Mayfield was in Heisman contention, but he fell off, I'm still the same way. He's going to show up to at later against West Virginia.
At a later date.
Yeah. And he's going to take West Virginia down.
25 seconds.
I'm going West Virginia in this one. Home field advantage. They have one less loss. Granted, they've played one less game, but go West Virginia to pick against you guys.
I'm taking the Sooners. They're on a huge win streak right now, so I'm definitely taking Oklahoma.
Last night I was watching We Are Marshall for the very first time, and in that movie they traveled to West Virginia to get the playbooks or play calls, whatever, to learn something. And West Virginia on the back of their helmets has a Marshall bumper sticker, whatever it is. So I'm going to go with West Virginia
I'm sorry,
to
your
take the
pick
win.
doesn't count. You ran past the timer. That is an automatic disqualification.
It's my show. You're disqualified. Get out of my room. Now this is another one that technically should be worst of the worst, but since it's Pac-12, it can't really be qualified as one. Arizona at Oregon State. They're both 2-8. Hey, that rhymes. Arizona at Oregon State. Both of those teams are 2-8.
Don't bang
Arizona
on the table.
at Oregon State. Both of those teams are 2-8.
If I had started the timer,
Arizona
we'd be
at
done.
Oregon State. Both of those teams are 2-8. Hey.
Hey.
Harris Highlight Show coming live from Phoenix. I don't know what else rhymes with Phoenix, but that is okay. I like to play the trumpet, the plumpet. Let's go. Who wins the game? Yay. All right, who wins the game, guys? Start that timer right now.
This game does fit our worst of the worst definition because you couldn't pay me to watch this game. But
I will
because
give
of-
you $5 to watch this game.
Go right
tempting,
ahead.
but because it's at home, I'm going to take Oregon State.
I'm going Oregon State because go Beavers.
I'm going Oregon State because F U of A.
Yeah!
I'm taking Oregon State. Go Beavers.
So, oh my God. So it's my time. It's my turn to go out and pick against everyone. So I'm gonna go with the Wildcats.
Shout out to Paul McGlure. He's hungry this weekend. Great guy. I'm going with U of A. We're going to go straight into the worst of the worst. Now, guys, this is the game where every week you cannot pay us. You can offer us free rides to Arizona State. We won't watch this game. I mean, maybe not that, but it's a very terrible game. I don't know how the people are going to be going to this one. Brady, if you can look up the StubHub prices like you do every week, let me know later in advance. That'd be great to know. But guys, this is between Texas State and New Mexico State. The battle of the states. Who wins?
This is just a bad game in general. And I'm going to take Texas State only because hook 'em horns. Even though they're not Texas horns. I don't know.
Well, it's obviously Texas State is the most overlooked state or overlooked college in Texas, and I think it says something to be the most overlooked college in New Mexico when there's two big ones. So for that, I think they need some love. So I'm gonna go with the New Mexico State Aggies. I think that's the third time I picked an Aggie team on the show today.
Well, there's 7 tickets left to this game.
Wow.
Oh,
$35 is the cheapest.
20 seconds.
It's a must go attend.
I'm going to go with Texas State because you don't see a lot of teams with Bobcats as mascots. One of my best friends goes to Ohio. Their mascot's the Bobcat, so go Bobcats.
My cousin's best friend's little brother once toured New Mexico State, so I'm taking New Mexico State.
Well, Battle of the States. The letter N comes before the letter T, so New Mexico State.
Be smart.
You see New Mexico State, Lyle?
#Matt.
I'm picking Texas State against you. I'm going to come up on top this one. I think also all my worst of the worst picks have been right this year.
Not surprised, because you picked them. It's rigged. The picks are rigged.
That guy's comment was
That's
true.
it. You're not in second place anymore. I am. You're off the show.
Let's just do that then.
All
Let's just
right.
state the game.
Now, before we move on, Josh is being a little girl and wants us to pick the USC-UCLA game, which all of us were going to pick USC. That's why they weren't on the list in the first place. But I will let you and Spencer have a little conversation right now because, as I'm not mistaken, there's a little bet going on between the two of you this week.
Oh, you bet there is.
Because we're having a bet.
Because UCLA and USC have one of the most historic rivalries in all sports history. The Battle of California, Los Angeles, question mark?
LA? I'm from LA.
Okay.
Battle for the victory
I did
bell.
say
Are you
LA.
really?
Yes.
Battle for the victory bell.
So, I say that if UCLA wins, you get to wear UCLA gear.
I agree to that. As long as if USC wins, you will wear USC gear.
Shake
I
hands.
say we shake hands.
So wait first. Let's talk about the shirts that we'll be wearing. If UCLA wins, I'll be wearing a shirt that I believe says "Champions Made Here" with the UCLA logo.
You bet.
And if USC wins, Spencer will be wearing a nice shirt that says "For Life" with the Tommy Trojan logo on it. Deal?
Four's up.
I like it.
Huzzah!
Right on, baby.
Perfect. And like I said, this is not going to be a pick 'em because we're all obviously picking USC, and that does put Emily at an advantage in points, which is something that unfortunately she cannot have. at this point in the show.
If
So
I
sorry,
might
Ed.
add one more thing.
Oh, God.
If you have to play USC to sell out your home field, you might be a Bruin. You might be a Bruin.
All right, guys. Arizona State travels to UW this weekend to take on the Huskies. Now, I looked it up earlier, and UW is favored by a very, very low 28 points. My gosh, how are they only favored by 28? Guys, do we stand any chance in this game? My definition of chance is losing by less than 28.
If UW does not beat Arizona State by at least 30 points, they should fall out of the top 25 rankings.
I agree.
Good Lord.
28-point favorite. We should double that. UW's going to win by...
Honestly, just watch them
56 or
not
so.
do it and watch ASU show up because we're talking mad-ish.
I hope they do.
I hope they do.
Like one of the questions in the Q&A, will Zane Gonzalez hit the game winner?
Oh, if he does.
I sure hope so.
If he does.
Well, we still don't have a defense. But after last week's showing of UW's offense, it's
We have
kind
an
of
offensive
Against
line.
the ASU defense.
So, guys, I mean,
I think
we have to pick this game because we have to. Let's all make our picks.
I'm going to go with the Devils. No, I'm going with
He made
with
joke.
UW. I'm going to go with UW. I hate saying it,
I think most
but
likely.
Washington is the better team in this one without a doubt.
Huskies, no doubt.
Huskies by 14.
Ooh.
Really?
UW.
Yep.
UW, Jake Browning is going to run all over ASU secondary. Go Purple
Ding,
Rain.
ding,
Throw.
ding.
I was the only person last week to pick Arizona State to beat Utah, and my God, do I regret that. In my defense, it was a very close game in the fourth quarter, and then Arizona State, that happened. The offensive line happened, they blew it, and it ended up being a straight-up blowout. And I think
Pac-12
I don't
reps.
want to say it was
Pac-12
Brady, but I feel like
Boo.
last week someone said on the show it's going to be a close game, and then Utah pulls away in the fourth quarter.
That's
I think
what
it was.
I said. I said that too. Brady and I both said
Well,
it.
congrats, guys. So yeah, we're all picking Utah.
Seriously,
I've
though.
waited
if
so
you-
long for this next game.
Gentlemen, I'm throwing the papers in the air because it is finally that week. It is finally here. I can't believe it. You can't believe it. My shirt came in the mail the other day. I'm really excited to wear it. Brady, I don't think I've shown you yet.
You bought a Chattanooga shirt?
Did I not show you? I bought one. I had to. I just had to. Gentlemen, this weekend the Chattanooga... Oh, by the way, Chattanooga lost to Wofford this week. How did they lose to Wofford?
You know what?
What's a Wofford?
They rested their starters.
It's rigged.
So they can go to this game.
That's what I was thinking too.
No, it was a trap game. They weren't preparing for Wofford. They're preparing for Bama.
I think Brady was right there. I think they were resting the starters. They were pulling the San Antonio Spurs, making sure everyone's healthy. So that way when they go into Tuscaloosa this week, they're going to be ready.
I will tell you this: tickets start for this game at $48,
Let's go.
and there are 1,000 left.
Hey,
You
you know
guys
what
are-
they say? Don't sleep on Chattanooga.
Guys,
I will tell you this. As Jim Carrey said in Dumb and Dumber, so you're saying there's a chance.
Because
Alabama has a 99.4% chance of winning this game.
so there's a 0.6% chance that
Chattanooga.
Guys, I'm so excited. I can't even express my joy. It's a 5 o'clock kickoff, Mountain Time, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, ESPN 2. Please watch this game,
You better
everyone.
believe we'll all be watching.
I want
grab your
was-
popcorn,
Send
folks.
us all pictures of it too, so we know.
Everyone-
Was I
Yes.
supposed to be doing the timer for this game?
Oh God, no! There is no
Should I
timer.
set the timer to 25
No,
minutes?
pretty much. All right, so this is what I want you guys to do. I want you guys to first of all watch the game. Most importantly, send a photo of you watching the game. It could be just of you watching it, you with everyone watching it, you with a pizza slice in your hand.
And we'll put you on the show.
Whatever
Sorry to volunteer you
whatever
for
it is,
anything.
we want to have next week's show just flooded with a bunch of photos of everyone watching the Chattanooga
gonna be
game.
awesome.
They've been getting so much love, and they deserve it. Guys, it's finally here. Who wins this game?
Should
I
we,
got
should, we,
dibs.
should we do this all in unison?
Yeah,
No,
that makes
I
sense.
say we each.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we
Josh.
each give our picks.
Yeah, go ahead, Josh.
So, I think Bama's a very good team. I think they're the number one team in the country for a reason. There's a storm brewing in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Bruin?
And
Leave my show.
and I'll tell you one thing. The mocks are coming. Alabama goes down by 13.
Bama's got a 99.4% chance to win. Man, that's disrespectful. We've been saying it all year, don't sleep on Chattanooga, and I refuse to sleep on them. Chattanooga wins the game.
Listen, man. All right,
This shit
so
again.
we've been saying don't sleep on Chattanooga since I don't know when.
Episode 1.
Yeah.
And I'm saying it now in episode 8 when the game has finally come. do not sleep on Chattanooga. That's my pick. That is my pick.
Go Mox. Chattanooga, baby.
As a Floor 4 mom, I'm assuming you guys all saw the posters I made for Chattanooga. If you follow Blake on Instagram, you can also follow me on Instagram. That'd be awesome. But Chattanooga all the way.
Self-plug.
Harris highlights. It's come down to you.
He's gonna pick Bama.
You do.
This entire
Or just-
I'm deleting this whole
I'm catching up with the rankings, boys.
They just want to win in the rankings.
It was week 1, so long ago, for the show that is.
I remember.
And I remember we were discussing Alabama's schedule and how they're not going to lose. But something just caught my eye. As I was looking at the schedule, I couldn't help but notice the second to last week of the season, a big ol' C. I don't know what that C was, for I had never seen that logo before. It said Chattanooga. I thought to myself, what is a Chattanooga? I don't know what it is. I still don't really know what it is. But I thought, yes, I like this. I want this. And on that show, I said, do not sleep on Chattanooga. And in the weeks that have followed, it has become a movement. It has become a following. It has become something that just has taken on a life of its own. It's inspired people's lives. It has changed people's lives. This game is more than just a football game. It's about something more. Something that I can't even explain. Guys, it's finally here. And for the final time, I do have to say this. Do not sleep on Chattanooga. They're going to give it their all this week. They might not come out on top, but we all hope they do. They're going to gain respect from millions of fans in America. Millions of people across the world, I should say. With that being said, gentlemen, this Saturday evening, in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, those 100,000 or so folks in attendance will be leaving the stadium heartbroken, but they will be leaving with respect. For a new powerhouse is born, reigns supremacy, and so it begins on this Saturday, November 19th, 2016. The college football world will come to a halt as the greatest upset in sports history will take place as the Chattanooga Mocs take down the greatest team in the world, the Alabama Crimson Tide. Ladies and gentlemen, do not sleep on Chattanooga! They are getting this win, and they are proving everyone wrong. Oh, what a game that's going to be.
I will tell you this. Chattanooga basketball beat Tennessee.
And that's just a sign
And
of
that's
the
just,
momentum.
hey, they beat an SEC team. It's just going to happen again.
Like I said, guys, all week I want to see the support on Twitter at Blake H. Harris. Tweet me, don't sleep on Chattanooga. Tweet me anything Chattanooga related. It's going to be a fun weekend Saturday night, as I mentioned, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, ESPN2, the game of your life. Let's face it, it's the game of the century.
And if you're from Chattanooga, please tell us that as well.
Tweet it to all of us for that matter. We all want to see it happen.
We'd all love to see it. The support for the show has been great, and if we can get more support for Chattanooga, that'd be amazing. We also want to get on SportsCenter if they win, and we will all be purchasing Chattanooga shirts.
I already purchased mine. Now, Spencer, I did have your hand up. Now,
Yes.
it is your segment of the show. For those of you who don't know really quickly, Spencer is a bandwagon fan of almost every team out there in the world, but we do like to give him a few extra teams to root for every week. You know, someone hits him up on Twitter, Instagram, and tells him what team he should root for. Spencer, what team are you a fan of this week?
I'm going to be honest here. I didn't get any teams this week, but
Really?
I can notice why. They're all focused and looking up the stats of Chattanooga.
Of course.
To figure out how many points they're going to win by beating Bama.
Of course.
So with that being said, my team of the week, Chattanooga.
So cute. It's the team of our life, I believe.
Follow me at SPX09.
I feel like people that go.
Zane Gonzalez is going to be their head coach.
Oh my god.
I feel like people that actually.
I'd transfer there if that happened.
I feel like people that actually go to Chattanooga don't love the school as much as we do. I'm going to be 100% honest with this one. Guys, if you want to follow us on Twitter, Talk College Football, all of the links are in the bio below. And
Slide in my DMs.
if you want to slide into M's DMs,
God.
she is more than happy about that. She will respond to everyone that slides in. Her Instagram and Twitter will be in the description below. And you know what? I'm going to put her Snapchat in there below. She needs some more friends on social media. She wants to be a little more popular. So what better way than to come on the Harris Highlight Show and expose herself? So Emily, once again, though, thank you for coming on the show, making your
Thank
picks.
you,
Thanks,
I couldn't help
Thank
it.
you. USC beat UW.
It was funny. I went over to watch We Are Marshall last night, and I look over, and I'm like, okay, you're doing homework, whatever. I'm like, no. She's in the middle of her pick'ems, like doing advanced research. I'm like, good for you.
You put more into it than we do.
I know. I didn't put any effort into them. But once again, thank you.
Thank you, USC beat
guys.
UW.
Guys, great weekend of
Go,
college
Josh.
football. Great weekend of college football this week. A lot can possibly change. We'll just have to wait and see. But next week we will be back. We might have to film on Saturday or Sunday or Monday because I will be flying home on Tuesday. Therefore, I'm able to do the show. So hopefully we can film on Monday or Sunday. Bring episode 9 to the folks because we will have a lot to talk about. And there'll be some good pick'ems to do as well. But unfortunately, we'll have to wait and see. Brady, what do you have to say?
One last time. Should we all say it together?
We should all say it together.
Land it like
USC beat UW. Sorry, is that not what we're talking about?
Way to stay relevant.
I told you guys.
Row the boat?
I told you.
Row,
the boat.
row your boat.
3, 2, 1. Don't sleep on Chattanooga.
Have a great weekend, everyone. Go Sports.
Go Devils.